Well, hello, good morning. Listen, I just jumped on and I advertised nothing. Let me explain to y'all something that has happened and how I handled this. And I don't know what the next step is, but I'm working on it. So the other day, I did a live stream on Sunday and we started talking about aliens and I showed a few things. Well, both of the things that I showed tried to copyright strike me. All right. So I sent I sent an email into legal at YouTube and discussed the first one. Okay, that I won my dispute. I won my copyright on. Great. So it was restored. It wasn't 25 minutes later. Hey, KJ Mack, how you doing? It wasn't 25 minutes later that the second part of my live stream from Sunday night, that group decided they were going to do a copyright strike as well. So I sent another dispute in and to try to prove that anyway. So I sent it in. I had to wait like 48 hours. They finally responded back and that I have won my dispute with them over this copyright. So that on both of these now I've won two disputes in 48 hours. The problem is now of my live stream from Sunday night, 30 minutes of it is now missing because the second part that was disputed was when Bashir was being channeled by this guy named Paul, and I don't know how to get it back on there. So I've sent my dispute to legal again to ask them where's the rest of my video and how do I fix it? Because what I don't want to do is replay this or redo this and create another live stream and then get another copyright. It is a battle all the time, and I do not understand how something you put out your Copyright Act information. It is a banner on the bottom of your live. You have given full credit to whoever this information actually belonged to in the first place. It is on YouTube, a live platform. How in the hell are you copyright striking something like this on a live platform that you put out there for people to look at and use under fair use? So I don't know what I'm going to do to fix this, but I'm working on it right now to try to get it restored. I think that what people need to realize, if you are a creator, I can tell you how to get your copyright strikes, how to take care of this, because sometimes in the dispute box, yeah, it really gets the way of making videos at times. It creates it's just a strange strategy, isn't it? It absolutely is, KJ Mack, and it's driving me insane because it's like every week I get something I've got to battle. Now, I don't know who's against me. Is it the world? Is it YouTube? Is it somebody on YouTube? I don't know. But the one thing I'm going to do is I'm not stopping. I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to keep doing what I have to do to get the word out, to talk about what I want to talk about. I'm not over there bothering nobody. I'm not stepping on anybody's toes. I'm not using somebody's content to get monetized with. I'm not even monetized, right? I'm just trying to come over here, discuss things I want to talk about in an adult world, without a bunch of controversy and arguing and people getting upset with other people in chat. I want to keep it respectful. We don't all have to have the same opinions. It's okay for all of us to think differently. That's what the world's about, Let me turn this light on. Hang on. But so. And I also moved my studio to to an empty room in our house. So everything's a little different right now, but I don't know. I'm just, the first thing that I had to do was in that dispute box. Okay, there's this little space over there. It says, if you don't, you got a copyright strike, you've got some choices. Here's what you can do. Well, on that first dispute, what happened? The system would not let me input a little comment about why I was disputing it. I had to go find, now listen to this. This is where it gets weird. I had to go out to Chat GPT and find an actual email address to contact somebody about making a written dispute. Because what happens when you actually first dispute and you say, well, I'm going to dispute this, it goes out to some bot, which is the exact same bot that already gave you the copyright strike, which is kind of silly, right? So I finally get this email and I write my dispute and I send it in, and of course that. And so then it happens again. And so, but this time the box, I guess I put in my information that the dispute box would not allow to add comments. So I don't know if it was a glitch or whatever. But the second time, instead of, it gave me different options. It said you can dispute, you can take the part out, or you can do nothing at all and just and it's just a strike, right? Well, I decided to actually just do dispute and not take it out. So I don't know, it's weird, but anyway, what a day. This is how my day started this morning, was getting this copyright strike dispute win and then figuring out that 30 minutes of that live is gone and I don't know how to get it back on there. I just don't. So I've just sent another email to legal to see what to do, but I don't know, God, I don't know. YouTube is so extremely difficult sometimes. I mean, you just don't know, right? I mean, there's no like, it says, oh, community guidelines and all these. I mean, they're not clear. It's just not telling you exactly A, B, C, D. Now, for some people, they don't need that. For some people like me, I do need a little bit of that A, B, C, D, right? I just want to be clear. I want it to be in black and white. I don't want to have to guess at it. But anyway, that's just how the day started. Now, what I'm working on right now, and I'm going to bring it live later today, is about, it's called, a 6 minute is the 6 minute true crime, causing us to be desensitized. And what this is talking about is, a lot of us we're like, oh gosh, we're exhausted tonight, but we really can't go to sleep. So we go in and we lay down, click on that television, we start watching the people we normally watch on true crime on YouTube. And we're just going along, we eventually fall asleep to it. But the thing is it's still playing in the background until your TV decides to shut itself off. Now, I've got earbuds on when I'm falling asleep, listening to this. Now, I know a lot of other people do the same thing, but here's the question. Is it really desensitizing us to what we're listening to? Is it that we perceive just true crime as just normal everyday life now? That's the question that I have. And so we're going to talk about that later today. I just wanted to jump on this morning and discuss the copyright hell that I've been in for the past few days. Anyway, I hope everybody's okay. My driveway is still 2 inches thick in ice. The problem is my house, the driveway is shaded. So the sun has not came up and it's not been hot enough to actually melt that ice yet. So I'm still trapped at this house. Oh my God. Yeah, it is interesting, KJ Mac, that the subconscious is what you're really listening to and what's happening in your mind. I mean, what made me think about this? Okay, so sometimes I get off on these weird tangents, me and Sprinkle together, and I was thinking about something. I was like, you know what? Because so much of us, when we go to YouTube, what is the first thing we go to? True crime. Why are we so interested in true crime? Is it because our heart goes out to the families and the victims? Is it because we want to understand how people can do things like this to each other? Is it because there's simply nothing else on television? Tangents. I'm working all kinds of tangents. KJ, I know, girl, I know. So, I just always wonder about that. What drives us to go straight to true crime? There's so many things to look at on YouTube. Anything you can think of is to look at YouTube. True crime involves everything from the actual taking of lives to being putting in jail, falsely accused and being put in jail, and fighting for your life to get out of it. All of that is true crime. A whole bunch of things encompass true crime. It's not just the act of what happened. So I don't know. I'm just kind of interested in what drives us. Why? But I've always wondered. Oh, you can tell. Okay, you can tell me your reason. I'm interested in human behavior, so true crime isn't my main interest. I only listen to. Okay, I get it. Yeah. See, that's my thing. I've always been interested in what makes the person do what they did. So that is a human behavior reaction, basically. I guess so. I agree with you, KJ. I agree with you. We have the same interest in that. But a lot of people. Well, a lot of us may have exactly the same reason for listening, but we listen to many different creators, and I know a lot of the times these creators are basically giving us the same information, but just twisted a little bit differently. So we're hearing the same thing, but not exactly the same thing. But we still go listen because we think, okay, are they going to tell me something different from their perspective that maybe I didn't catch the first time around, right? So I don't know. It's just an interesting concept, or it's an interesting thing to talk about. And it is about human behavior. You're right about that. And I mean, the other part of true crime that happens that people don't talk about much is the fact that there are people who watch these things and then recreate the same behavior. Okay, they go out and do the same crime. Yeah, you follow Sebastian Devlin and you hear a bit about HTC and then the creator behavior. Yeah, that's true too. Now that's fascinating. It is why they behave so poorly. Well, you know what, KJ? That's a good question. I've wondered that myself because in my mind, is it strictly because of money? Are they so money hungry that they can't see what they're doing to other people? Here's another thing that I'm going to get off on. Now, just hang on a second, because I talked about a case yesterday, and it all came back to again trauma from childhood based on a religious teaching that created this fanatic into this end times. Okay, this lady that takes her children to Croatia, and she's hiding there, and she's telling the children, we're never going back to Utah because of end times. And again, she was raised LDS. You know, her and her husband were both LDS. Of course, they're divorced, but anyway. So these kids were raised as LDS, and she's over there with the same belief. Now, this is Lori Vallow. This is Chad Daybell. I mean, this is just, there are so many of these people coming out of that religion with these extreme beliefs that I think is, in my mind, now, I could be wrong. I'm not a doctor. I don't claim to be. I'm just a human who has a lot of interest in what makes people do what they do. So in my mind, I'm thinking this religion creates childhood trauma that creates mental illness. Okay. We also know that HTC was raised Mormon or in the LDS religion. True. You know, so you think people, hang on. I think people say it's money without realizing that's not the entire story. Money equals energy. Okay. Lots of energy equals power. Power equals control and safety. Okay. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, it is a childhood trauma. But KJ, so do you think that the childhood trauma actually creates this mental illness in these people and they can't seem to navigate away from what was just put into their head every day of their life as a child about end times, about the LDS religion, about the, you know, the religious hyperosity. It's, to me, it is, I guess you would have to watch more than one case of where this has happened in that religion to see it. Because if you just watch one case, you may not notice it. But if you start watching a bunch of cases that all came out of Utah, that all came out of these children growing up in this religion, you might be going, damn, look at this. What happened here? Yeah, you'd want control after trauma. You had no control over. You know what? You're right about that, KJ. You're absolutely right about that. That's right. They didn't have any control as a child. Okay, so did they gain control as the adults? That case, the case about those children is very interesting. Some religions absolutely cause early. Yeah, they do. They do. I agree with that. That case over in where the kids are in Croatia. You know, now we've got a dad and we've got a family over there trying to bring these kids back home. It's now they've been there like 10 days and they're still not on their way home with these kids. It is terrible, girl. Just terrible. And, you know, there is, and I thought, and I talked about this yesterday too a little bit. I thought that it's a short, it was only like 30 or 40 minutes. I thought there was some kind of stipulations put in place that if you had custody of the children, the other spouse who do not have custody could not just go get a passport for these kids and put him on a plane with one-way tickets to another, you know, country. But apparently I'm wrong about that. So, and this is where I learned about this when I was talking about this case yesterday, where this lady absolutely, it was her turn to visit with the kids, and she had premeditated all of this, gotten these passports, forged signatures on the passports, and put those kids on one-way plane, you know, one-way trip to Croatia, where she planned on never coming back to the United States. And as they're loading the plane, she told the kids, "We're never coming back." Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah. typing my ideas is so inadequate, but I hear exactly what you're saying about this patterns and looking deeper in. Yeah, yeah, it is. It's crazy, KJ. I understand. I know it's hard in chat to just put a little thing out there. You're welcome to come up here live and talk anytime you want to. I always tell people, hey, anytime you want to come up here and talk with me, come on up. I'll drop the link. I'll give you the phone number, whatever it is you want to do, because we do have a new phone number now for our podcast, or what do you want to call this, our lives, our channel. Sprinkle and I got a little phone number so people can call in and ask questions or talk about whatever they want to talk about. I went with just a free phone number that I already had because I didn't want to spend any more money, because it costs money to give a 1-800 VoIP number through somebody on on the internet. And so I just went with my free phone that I already had, because like most of us have cell phones, and in our cell phones we have unlimited this, unlimited that, so we don't even get charged for long distance anymore. So I thought, well, it'd work out okay just to use that number instead. So that's what it is. So just jumping on to talk about my copyright. Yeah, one day, yeah, that would be so much fun. Hey, Magic Star girl, how you doing? I have to figure out. Yeah, network. That's great. You're internationally. I forgot about that. Okay, Jay. Yeah, we'll find a way to make that work. We can find a way. I know we can. Hey, Magic Star, how are you doing, girl? I was thinking about you. I saw you last night in chat with Justin, and I thought, oh my gosh, I want to ask her how she's doing, but not in this public, not through Justin's chat like that. I mean, you doing okay? Have you got a plan? Have you got a treatment plan? I know that's personal. If you just want to text me later, that's fine too. I was just thinking about you. I know it's a hard diagnosis to get, baby, but we love you no matter what. Yeah, please hit that thumbs up and thank you so much. Magic, I didn't advertise or anything. I just jumped on and started talking about me being upset about my copyright strikes. Shit. I have to ask myself, how many other people tend to get a copyright strike at least once a week? I'm telling you, it's the wildest thing I've ever seen. It's almost like, and this is going to sound ridiculous. It's going to sound ridiculous. It's almost like, is there somebody out there who just wants to sabotage me? I don't know, girl. I don't know. But it's craziness. It's craziness. You're meeting with your plastic. Oh, good, good. I'm so glad. Thank you. I'm so glad. Magic Star. I'm going to talk about something personal for just a second, all right? But when I decided that, okay, well, I need a little help. I didn't look very good, right? I went into that office and I was so excited. I had worked and saved this money to pay for it myself. So I go into the plastic surgeon's office and I'm talking about, he's asking me all these questions about how I feel, what do I expect, what should I ask? I mean, all these different things. And I had in my mind some weird, I don't know, some weird body dysmorphia or something about, well, it's my understanding if you get a bigger chest, your waist looks smaller. Okay, this is crazy sounding, right? But that's what I thought. Well, let me tell you this. That is not exactly true. And I'm just going to say this. I wish that when I made this decision, I would have made this decision for it to be a little bit smaller, because now I don't like them. I'm over here going, God, I don't like these anymore. I just kind of don't like them, because finding clothes, etc., just is hard. You're over here having to buy clothes that are a little bit too large so that you can button the top, right? I just wish I would have thought about that in the beginning, but I did not. So yeah. I understand. I don't want you to lose that either, girl. I know this is hard. I know. And I'm just know this, Magic Star. If you need anything, you just need somebody to talk to. You just need a shoulder to lean on. Just contact me. It's fine. Just whatever I can help you to do, that's what I'll help you do. Being a woman very much includes having our ladies hanging out there. I mean, that's just part of us, right? Some people feel okay about losing them and not replacing them, and some people feel like they have to replace them. That's where I've always thought, well, I would have to have them, and no matter what, because I just always felt like it. Yeah, you're right. Keep your girls intact and facing forward. You're right. It's just part of who you are, and it's okay. The beautiful thing, this sounds terrible, Magic, but it's not. The beautiful thing about this is at this point, you get to choose exactly how you want them to look. So that's a plus. That is a plus. So, okay, I'm going to quit talking about that because that's a very personal experience. But just know we're here for you. We care for you. And anything we can do, you just let us know. So, let me show y'all something. Hang on a minute. We'll talk about this. Yeah, they mentioned a Goldilocks mistake. It said A cup. What? Yeah, no, I want that. Okay, right. Listen. There's also this kind that says, listen, there's this thing that's called gummy bears, which is a type of a prosthesis or a type of an implant. It's called a gummy bear. They are great, but there's a lot more tissue, like a lot more people end up with encapsulations when they get gummy bears. That's the only thing I'm going to say about those. They look great, but you're more likely to have a problem with that particular type. I don't know if it's the material. I don't know what causes it. But out of the 5 people I know that chose the gummy bears, I did not, but they chose the gummy bears so they never have to wear a bra again. That's the pull on it. 3 of them ended up encapsulated and had to have them removed. Yeah, they're an implant. It's called gummy bear implants. Yeah. But they have some lining on the outside that's very different than your normal implant, and that is where that causes the encapsulation. Now, I'll tell you, the plastic surgeon says, "Oh, that's not the reason." Well, you tell me how 3 out of 5 ended up encapsulated, and they got one thing that they all got in common was the gummy bear implant. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right. Now, I'm going to show you something from yesterday that hold on a second. I'm going to pull this up. We'll just go ahead and make a live out of it. It's fun. Instead of me ranting about my copyrights, we'll just make a live out of it. It's okay. It really is. So let's go talk about these kids from yesterday. Kids found in Croatia. Oh, my Lord. I feel so sorry for this family. I mean, here we go. We'll look at law and crime real quick. Here we go. Like this. Okay. Let me share my screen so y'all can see some. This is going to be from law and crime. Yeah, I think they would have to put in space. Yeah, they do. At first, it's a whole bunch of things, but Magic Star, it's okay. We're right here for you. And just think about that. Copyright wreck goes tangent. Now we're going to get over here on something else. We're going to see, look, this is what happens to me. So let's talk about this for a second. I want to share my screen because this story really caught my eye. And it's not because of true crime. It's because I thought, look how easily it was for this lady to do this. And look how many children this could have happened with, but we didn't hear about it. Because the reason why this went viral is because it wasn't one child. It was actually 4 children, plus an additional child that was already there. And both of these moms ended up being arrested, and they are in Croatian jails. So here we go. And this is going to be held, let's see. Let me put my little screen protector on there because I damn sure don't want a damn copyright fight today. Oh my God. So we'll just use this one. There you go. Here, we do that, and we'll start this going.
Involving the case of an alleged Doomsday mom who took her 4 children illegally out of the country, all of them vanishing without a trace for months until now.
We received a call from the FBI agent that we were working with that Elleshia Seymour had been apprehended by the Dubrovnik police here in Croatia.
We just spoke with the aunt of 3 of the 4 children who Elleshia Seymour allegedly took out of the country. She says that she's in Croatia right now with Elleshia's ex-husband, her brother, and they say the children are safe. They shared with us these pictures showing Seymour's ex-husband with the children in Croatia. Obviously a huge sigh of relief if you have been following this story, especially after Elleshia Seymour allegedly left behind notes in November saying that she believed the apocalypse was near.
And it was like the world had stopped. We were thrown back into an ice age.
But this saga is not over just yet. We are also learning more about why Seymour may have targeted Croatia as her destination, who she was allegedly talking to online before she took off. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart.
See, there's so much more to this case than was at first. They only gave it this little bit, but so I'm glad we're watching this because I know that Law and Crime does a really good job when they investigate and they get all the facts. They're not just telling you part of the facts. They're trying to tell you every piece of information that they could gather. I have access to information that a person like me would never have access to, because I'm not a media person. I don't have media access, to all these different uh, pieces of information about these cases. Yeah. If it's the end of the world, where the heck do they think they're going? There's nowhere to go. The logic of doom. I know. And see, this is that thing that goes back with the damn LDS thing. I don't know why she went to Croatia, but I kind of have a feeling that she went there because of their treaty with U.S. about sending people back that's been arrested. I think it has something to do with they don't have that. What is it called? I'm sorry, guys. My mind is thinking about everything. Okay, my ADHD, my tangent's coming out right now. So sorry, but they don't have the agreement where they will send people back. Right? They don't like a lot of countries do. So here we go. I think that's the reason why. Let's listen. Sorry. Yeah.
Hey guys, real quick, I want to talk about a big sponsor of On the Case, one of the top shows on YouTube, Morgan & Morgan, America's largest personal injury law firm. They're a firm with more than 1,000 attorneys who have recovered $25 billion from more than 500,000 clients. In the past few months alone, a client in Florida received $12 million when insurance offered just $350,000. In Pennsylvania, another client was awarded $26 million. That is 40 times the insurer's offer. Morgan & Morgan makes it easy to fight for what you deserve. You can even start a claim from your phone. So was Elleshia's ex-husband, as well as his sister, Jill Seymour. They are in the South Croatian town of Dubrovnik. They say this is where the children are currently being held in the custody of Croatian authorities at a child care facility as they figure out the logistics of getting them back to the United States. And we will talk about the hurdles they are facing right now. Kendall is the dad to 3 of the kids who Elleshia allegedly took out of the country. The 4th child is Elleshia's, but it's with another father. Now, you might remember this story from December when police say this mom boarded an international flight with her 4 children. They were last seen on surveillance video getting on the plane in Salt Lake City, and since then, they have been gone. Seymour is 35 years old. She's the mom to these 4 kids, 3 sons and a daughter, with 2 different ex-husbands. The eldest child is 11, and the youngest is just 3. This is according to a GoFundMe page that was started by one of the dads who we've been communicating with. Police say Elleshia Seymour, she wanted to keep the kids to herself, and she went to alleged extreme lengths to do it. Now, West Jordan police in Utah filed a warrant in Salt Lake County calling for Seymour to be found, brought back to the United States, and to be locked up. And according to the family of her ex-husband, who again are now in Croatia, Elleshia Seymour is now in custody, and we're working to confirm that with Croatian authorities. Now, the Utah warrant indicates.
I want y'all to think about this, though. According to Chad Daybell, that is the reason why he moved to Utah, is so that they would be safe from the end of the world, right? He was supposed to put those tents up and be leading the 144,000 people over to Utah. So I don't know why she picked Croatia. Let's think about that for a second.
That Elleshia Seymour faces 4 felony charges of custodial interference. It's important to note that she does have joint custody of these kids, and that might be the reason why she's not facing kidnapping charge or an abduction charge, but it's custodial interference. And she's facing 4 counts, 1 for each child she is accused of taking to Europe without their dad's permission. And according to investigators, Seymour, again, with this joint custody agreement with both of her exes, and each count filed against her is a 3rd-degree felony, and each one carries up to 5 years in Utah's prison system if Seymour is convicted. This is according to the state's sentencing guidelines. It's also unclear when and if she will be brought back to Utah. Now, Seymour was last seen on November 29th. That is roughly 2 months ago. And she and the children were last seen boarding a one-way flight from Salt Lake City to Amsterdam. And it was a flight that was going to end in Croatia. Now, we do know, according to...
Yes, KJ Maxx, I'm going to have to put my demands in for on my Doomsday home. I really do want my swimming pool, but I want a smaller swimming pool. We're going to get the small one, not the giant one. And I do need a whole garden, and I would like to raise my own animals, like just, be so totally self-sufficient on this island of safety. So I want to start selling that on my channel. What y'all think? Bring the kids for family fun. You're right, Magic Star. Bring them all.
This warrant that police filed that there was a voicemail that Seymour allegedly left for one of her ex-husbands on December 2nd. And she claimed that she was in France with the children, and she was stating that she was looking for a permanent residence and she needed to get the children out because the end times were coming. That is chilling and certainly concerning when you think about the safety of the kids as they were in Europe and so many members of law enforcement were trying to track them down. Police say on December 10th, The time for her to return the children to their fathers as part of their joint custody agreement had elapsed. Detectives say that they spoke to both fathers and the dads were not aware, and they had never consented to let Seymour remove the children from the state or the country. And based on all available information, Seymour appears to have no intention to return the children to the United States. It appeared around the time that Seymour allegedly took the children, there were concerns of.
We have to always stop a little bit for fair use. But here's the thing to think about, though. In every one of these cases, there are red flags all over the place that people missed. Here's my question. What red flag did these people all miss with her, and how? If you knew that she was raised with this end-time thought in her mind all the time, you had to know it was always there. It didn't just disappear one day. Here we go.
About her mental state. This is a TikTok that she posted in October. Her username is a daughter of light. And you get a sense of the doomsday ideology that it appears she subscribed to. In this post, she talks about a dream that she had that an electromagnetic pulse would go off and destroy communications in the world, creating chaos. Listen to this.
Hey y'all, I had a dream last night and this dream repeated a few times. I woke up a few times and it kept replaying every time I fell back asleep. And I feel that this is urgent. This dream was about an EMP going off. I heard the sound, like the blast that it makes. And as soon as that happened, the car stopped driving, computer stopped working, all electronics were down, Wi-Fi was down, water was down, the airplanes fell from the sky.
You know what else this goes in? Okay, now this is kind of strange, but hear me out for a second. This kind of goes along with my story about the alien abductions, and it kind of goes along with my discussions on our false prophet over there, because she discussed frequencies and things like this. Now, this lady getting into her what happened to her is she's kind of talking about the same thing. This all kind of ties together with the end times, the doomsday, and guess what? The LDS religion. Let's go.
Helicopters fell from the sky.
Police have requested, when she's brought back to the United States, that she be held without bond. Police say, quote, many witnesses have expressed concerns about the defendant's mental stability, indicating that she has previously suffered from emotional breakdowns and hallucinations. The defendant appears to have adopted extreme beliefs regarding the end of times, such that she believed it necessary to uproot her children from their lives and flee the country. There is a very real risk that the defendant's extreme erratic behavior will escalate and put her children at risk if she is released on bail. Police say after she left for Europe, they did a welfare check at her home in West Jordan, Utah, outside Salt Lake. And they say when they got there that the door was unlocked and the apartment was.
I mean, look what happened in Lori Vallow's case. People had concerns, but nobody would listen to Charles Vallow, and now him and the children are gone. It's like, I don't understand why people can't see these things and do the right thing. She seems to be unaware that many films and shows are also reinforcing these ideas and images. Of course, you could have such dreams. Doomsday movies and shows are not. You're right about that, KJ Mack. There are plenty of them. That is a good point right there, because they are all over everywhere. We see them every day. Every day. Here we go.
Unoccupied. They tried to get in touch with Seymour. They say they couldn't. They also say that no one they had spoken with who knew her was able to get in contact with her since she left on November 29th, the day that she boarded that flight. The warrant goes on to say, quote, a missing persons investigation was launched. Over the following days, Seymour's vehicle was located in a parking lot at the Salt Lake City International Airport, and a notebook containing plans to shred documents, discard phones, and take passports was found inside Seymour's apartment. Then you have that video footage from the airport showing Seymour and her 4 children entering the airport on November 29th, and they get on that one-way flight that was bound for Amsterdam to event.
I wonder if any of those children had cell phones. Well, I guess if they had a cell phone, she had already planned to throw them away. Of course, in her notebook there, she had all these things written down. She had planned it. I mean, this took a long time to plan, completely manipulated, completely thought out. I mean, movies, films can give many people unrealistic fantasies. Mine involved romance. Oh, yeah, I know, Magic. They certainly can. Well, here's a good one. Let's talk about Gypsy Rose for a minute. I know she's completely separate from all of this, but I want to talk about her for a second, because for Gypsy Rose, she lived in a world where, and her mother taught her this. Now, and I made a film, a little short about this as well. For Gypsy Rose, the only abuse that she suffered from her mother's hands was not being taught the real world. Because in Gypsy's mind, she was raised that, oh, we're all just Disney princesses, and somebody takes care of us all of our life, and that's just how it works. I mean, she had no real world thought, right? Because she was living in this little fantasy land. This lady was raised in a fantasy land as well. So, I mean, here we go. We'll keep listening.
Eventually get them to Croatia. And the FBI had been looking for them ever since. But the break in this case, according to Seymour's ex-husband and his sister, local authorities in Dubrovnik, Croatia, arrested Seymour in just the last couple of days. They say she is still in custody. I'll have my conversation with Jill Seymour in just a moment. She claims that Elleshia went to Croatia because she met a woman who is American on TikTok, and that woman lives in that Croatian town, and they share the same doomsday ideology, the end times ideology, believing that the apocalypse is going to come. She says the two met on TikTok. Now, the aunt of the children also told us that that woman, the one who Elleshia allegedly was going to meet, she is also in custody right now. Elleshia's 4 children are in the custody of local authorities in Croatia, and they're in a state-run childcare facility right now. Jill sent us these pictures of them spending time with the kids during the 2 hours of visitation they say they get each day. To get the kids back, Kendall and Jill Seymour will need to hire Croatian lawyers, they say, who specialize in child abduction, create and submit.
Okay, and they do have a GoFundMe set up, and it is simply to gain enough financial help to get an attorney to try to get their own children back, to bring them back to the United States. Because how they got there and how they come home are 2 different situations. It's now turned into this huge, neither one of the countries know what to do, really. In Croatia, they say they've not had this problem before, so they don't know what to do about it legally. Well, I mean, it seems to me like the easiest thing to do would be follow the child custody paperwork that was valid here in the United States. But we'll see what happens.
Hague Convention applications and hire court-approved translators, as well as they say they are going to be in Croatia for an extended amount of time because it is unclear how long it will take for the legal process to play out. They also say that the woman who Elleshia was allegedly traveling with, she has a son who is with them, and he is in the custody of Croatian authorities at this childcare facility, and it's unclear what, if anything, could be done to get him back to the United States. So I reached out to the West Jordan Police Department, since they were the ones who filed the charges against Elleshia Seymour, and they told us that they wouldn't have a comment today, and they referred us to the FBI, and the FBI told us they do not have a comment, and they referred us to Croatian authorities, and we are working on getting in touch with them. Here's my conversation with Jill Seymour from Dubrovnik, Croatia. Jill, thank you for joining us. Just what can you tell us right now about the situation you're dealing with?
We are living this living nightmare day by day, trying to get our kids out of a, for lack of a better word, orphanage in Croatia, get custody released to us, working with local authorities that move at molasses speed here in Croatia.
How did you find? Oh, sorry. Yeah, just how did you find out that they were there?
Yeah. So we found out Friday.
It is interesting how she got caught, because they're going to talk about this here in a minute. But the child, okay, they went to Croatia and they were staying with this woman and her child, right? Well, this child noticed that these children were presumed missing and said something to the mother. The mother, I think, did not realize what this lady had done. And I think that's how they got turned in, but we'll keep listening.
Afternoon last week, we received a call from the FBI agent that we were working with, that Elleshia Seymour had been apprehended by the Dubrovnik police here in Croatia, and that the children were with her at the time of her arrest.
And is that where she is now?
Correct.
What did they tell you about how the children wound up in this state-run orphanage?
We found out most of that information from a 5th child that they're with, who they've been living with for the past about a month and a half. So you have to take this information that we've learned of how they got there through the eyes of a 13-year-old.
You know, I imagine that this Croatian bureaucracy is more like, it's kind of like the Russian. Remember when the people were adopting these children out of Russia and how hard it was to get these children out of Russia, and then they shut it all down? I imagine it's the same thing with the Croatians, you know. Anyway, we'll keep going.
Croatia as a whole is pretty tight-lipped around the ongoing investigations. They don't have, there's not like a mugshot that gets released, right, like you do in America. So they won't give us any information as far as how that worked. So, but the children were there at the time, including the 13-year-old. So he saw everything transpire.
And with
Elleshia, I agree with that, Magic Star.
Because I know, as you're saying, I mean, the FBI were able to, you know, they're involved in.
here's the thing. Children are brutally honest. Think about this. Children are taught to lie. They're not born knowing how to lie. They're taught to lie. And then you take a child who's autistic who cannot even see any gray. They just don't lie because what do you mean lie? That's not really how it happened. You know, everything's so literal with them. So, and I know this. So anyway, yeah, it's probably like like France, utter torture. They send you from office to office in a circle until you're lost your mind and you go over their head. Right. See, and then yesterday I kind of talked about this. You'd think that the U.S. embassies would help, but there's a whole nother problem when you start including the embassy, because they cannot just undo what somebody did in a foreign country and it just get wiped away. It just doesn't work that way. So here we go.
Why are there so many, to your understanding, kind of the legal hurdles to be able to get these children back to the United States?
I wish we had a clear answer on that. Everything that we are told is, since the kids are now in custody technically through this children's center in Croatia, through the social service group here. And so they have to verify every single document that we turn in. And it has to be turned into them in English and in Croatian. So we've had to get everything translated, and they have to verify that all of it is real before they can release the custody of the kids back to my brother Kendall. And the way that they do so is a lot different than how we operate in America. There's different things that they're asking for that don't exist in America. I mean, even to get something notarized here, there's a special, it's baker's twine, basically, that's red, white, and blue, and they put holes in the paper, and
they originally went to Amsterdam, and from Amsterdam they went to Croatia. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure about any of that, but yeah, I can imagine it would be. I mean, because then if you have all of these documents and they haven't been translated, then you have to have somebody certify that as they were translated that they are exactly the same document, which creates another whole. Look at the layers and layers and layers of legal mumbo jumbo they're going to have to go through with all kinds of lawyers. I mean, this is going to be very expensive. It's just terrible. That sounds like a lot like it does sound like human trafficking. Thank you so much. It does. Thank you, Magic Star.
Tie it with baker's twine, and there's a special stamped sticker that goes on the back of the paper that holds the twine together. There's no digital anything that can only be given by hand to any of the government. Everything in America is e-filed, right? Yep. Anything that we're sending over to a judge to be signed is sent electronically, and that just doesn't exist here. Have you been able, you and your brother, to talk to the children? You know, I know you're the aunt to 3 of them, but be able to speak to these kids. Yes, we do get a whole whopping 2 hours a day with the kids to be able to visit them in the children's center. How are they doing? They're safe. They are eating. Pretty much the only thing they like about the center is the food. It is home cooked meals. They really enjoy that. But they hate it, and they very often say that they feel like they're in jail. They want to go home. They want to get back to the States. They want to see their friends, to be around people that understand them. There's a couple of the teenage kids. There's 30 kids in this children's center. There's a couple teenage kids that speak some English. There's 2-3 workers that speak some amount of English. So they're having a really hard time communicating their needs. What have they told you about the last, since November when they left Utah? Yeah, so they knew that a lot of the things that their mom was telling them didn't add up, didn't make sense. These aren't the first lies or grandiose ideas that their mom has tried to sell to them. So we're really thankful to how intelligent.
KJ, listen, and Magic Star, we could all get in the same self-sufficient commune because we all think alike that, we can take better care of ourselves and make decisions for ourselves better than the damn U.S. Democrats, Republicans, and the people that tell us what we can and cannot do with our money that we worked for or we saved. Yeah, send me the damn address is correct. Hey, Magic Star, yes, we'll just put the address out for everybody who wants to come and join. I love you guys. God, y'all are so great.
that they're not believing the conspiracies that she has believed in. But they did believe that we knew where they were and that she had permission from their dad to be taking them on this trip. They had no idea that we didn't know where they were or that we have been doing everything to find them. They thought that we were aware of the situation. But other than that, they really spent a lot of time on a lot of ferries is what they talk about, going in between islands, a lot of ferries, a lot of driving.
Well, they've got.
What do you know about how they were able, like the authorities, the FBI, and even this local, police department in Croatia, to be able to identify that something was wrong and bring her into custody?
Yeah, so the 13-year-old child is actually who found out that that the kids were missing and that the FBI was looking for them in the States. He was having a conversation with my 8-year-old nephew, Levi, and Levi asked him to Google his name because this 13-year-old had a cell phone. And so he Googled Levi's name and all of the news articles popped up. And he sent those in a group text. He allegedly sent those in a group text, is what he's telling us, to his mom and to Elleshia, with concern that the kids were looking for them. And as far as the 13-year-old is concerned, his mom was unaware that the children were not here legally, and that they were being looked for by the FBI.
Exactly
So
right. I do agree that the other mom did not know that these children were here illegally. So now what's happened is not only were these kids taken and put into this orphanage, but her child was put into this orphanage as well. And now she's been charged with charges, and she's in trouble with the law because of Elleshia, or whatever her name, because of Miss Seymour. Because Miss Seymour was not honest with her and told her, "Oh, I stole my children and brought them here." See, that's just terrible. It's terrible.
And Elleshia went to the police station. This other woman pretty much dropped Elleshia off at the police station and forced her to turn herself in. And an argument broke out, and both were arrested at that time.
Who is this other person?
She is from Georgia. She has lived here from Georgia, the state, in the United States, and she's lived here for about 1.5 years with her 13-year-old child on an island here in Croatia. She has all the same beliefs as far as end of worlds in the prophecies that Elleshia was receiving. If you look at her TikToks and everything, it's all very similar.
How do you know how she was able to get in touch?
I want to find the other person's TikTok handle and Seymour's handle, and we'll go look at. Well, let's see. I'll have to kind of record these TikToks on something else, because you cannot. Something weird happens if you're on YouTube and you go over here to TikTok and you want to watch something on TikTok. You can't hear it. It's like for some reason it won't let the sound come over, but you can see it. So I'll have to kind of record it, and then we'll just kind of take a look at it.
With Elleshia?
The 13-year-old says that his mom and Elleshia met through TikTok.
And then is that, I guess they end up having a conversation, and then they're police, and then they plan to, is that why Croatia? I know in the beginning the flight was going to the Netherlands, but then eventually to Croatia. Is the belief that that's where they were headed?
Yes. So her original flight was to split Croatia. And now, speaking to the kids, we learned that they missed that original flight because Hazel was tired of walking with all of their luggage in the airport. Understandably so. She's 7. So they missed that flight originally to Split, and that's why they flew to Amsterdam instead. And then they hopped on a plane from there and landed in Split.
Have you been able, or your brother, to communicate with Elleshia since she's been arrested?
No, we don't have any communication with her.
Has the FBI told you anything about what the process will be to get her back to the United States? Because I know she's going to face charges when she gets back to Utah, if and when that happens.
Correct. The West Jordan Police Department, where Elleshia lives, and I live as well, has warrants out for her arrest. But I'm not sure how that will play out. I'm not sure if there is anything here in Croatia. We don't know if there's any laws she's broken here that they could possibly charge her for, or if she will be extradited back to the States. Hopefully we'll learn that in the future.
And I know with the system is very slow, it sounds like, in Croatia. I mean, is there any idea how long you're going to be there and what it's going to take to be able to get these children back home?
No, we don't have a definitive answer on any type of a timeline. It is still in the hands of the local police department.
So not the entire family, their whole now their life is all disrupted, because you have a dad, you have a girl, the fiance of the dad, you have the sister of the dad, you have all these people over there trying to do the work to get these kids back home. You have this mother that's over there sitting in jail, and this whole family and the disruption to their life is not. They're not going to be able to just jump back over here and move on like just life moves on. Now you're talking about a whole lot of counseling and a whole lot of because I'm pretty sure now these children will have fear of going anywhere with somebody other than their dad, because, well, look, she took me all the way over here without his permission. I didn't know I didn't have permission. And okay, now I'm over here in an orphanage with 30 other kids, and I don't know a damn soul. They can barely understand what I'm talking about. How horrible. How horrible for these kids. I couldn't even imagine, you know. Yeah, and TikTok is like the wild, wild west over there, man. I'm telling you, TikTok is yeah. There's so many things you can do on TikTok you could never do on YouTube. They'll shut your ass down. Here we go.
To finish their investigation, and then it will be in the hands of the social service organization here in Dubrovnik to release the kids.
And is there anything I missed or anything you'd want people to know now that they're learning that Elleshia's been arrested and these kids are safe?
Yeah, the kids are absolutely safe, as far as they're not in harm's way, but the conditions of where they currently are is not up to any type of American standard. Just today, I discovered a new part of the house. Workers there's certain spots we're allowed to go, and we're not allowed to go according to the workers. Jacob, the 3-year-old, had asked for some water. There was no workers in sight for me to ask where he can get water from, which is a huge red flag. The worker to children ratio doesn't exist like it does in the States as far as childcare goes. So I went and found him some water myself and found a lot of black mold on walls.
Think about the Ruby Frankie and Jody Hildebrandt children. It's the same thing. I mean, that's another one that comes from this extreme LDS trauma of end times, right? Think about that. Those kids only survived because one of the children ran away and was able to get them help. So, oh God, I don't understand. I really do not understand how you can use religion to abuse your children. How? What in the hell is wrong? That makes people think of God. How are you allowing this? Come on now. Yeah. Oh, geez. From one hellish landscape to another. You're right. You're right, Magic Star.
The restroom is not up to any sort of standard. Just the level of care that they're receiving, outside time, any structure. They're like, we keep joking that the kids are like free range chickens. They get called when it's mealtime. They get told when to shower. And other than that, the kids do whatever they feel like doing. All the other kids get to leave the center and go to school. They get a monthly allowance. They get to go shopping. A lot of them have family in the area that will take them out to do things. Our kids are not allowed to leave the center. They're not allowed to go shopping. They're not allowed to go to school. So they really do feel like they're in prison.
Well, I hope that you and your brother and these children, you get answers soon, because it's a very difficult situation. Jill Seymour, thank you for joining us on Law and Crime. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
I also spoke with Caitlin Hart, who's a reporter with EastIdahoNews.com. That's been an outlet that has been covering this story from the very beginning. Joining us now is a reporter with EastIdahoNews.com.
I guess I need to go over to East Idaho News and collect and look at some of their coverage. But, yeah, Jinx, and what does it go? Oh, pinch, poke, you owe me a Coke. Y'all had the same thought at the same time. Even here, we have plenty of resources. The system is still overwhelmed, right? I'm going to talk about something for just a second. It's just a family thing, but he knows, so it's okay. But our nephew was adopted out of a Russian orphanage, and he was 10 months old. He could not even walk yet. He was basically living, this is a terrible story, and it makes you cry, but it just tells you how bad it is in these other countries for these children that are just, the people don't want to take care of them, so they just put them over there in these homes. I mean, it's the same thing in this Croatian home. These children are just shoved over there in these homes, and, oh, well, we'll come see you once a week or whatever. Like, they're not, how are you not with your family? I don't understand how people can do that. But anyway, so this child, he's beautiful, so smart. Just he's like autistic, extremely intelligent. But when he first came to us, or he first came home and they got off of that plane, it's just really terrible. But anyway, I'm sorry. I just don't understand how people can do this to children.
Caitlin Hart, an outlet that has covered this story from the very beginning. I know all of us are kind of taking in the information that's come down over the past couple of hours. What stood out to you in your conversations with the family of these children, or at least 3 of the 4 of them, as they're now in Croatia, and Elleshia Seymour reportedly is in custody?
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So after speaking with Jill, the aunt to the 3 Seymour children, we learned a lot. We learned that they have allegedly been in Croatia for about a month and a half, in a city called Dubrovnik. which is fascinating that they've been there that long. And from what we learned from the aunt, it turns out that it sounds like there was a 13-year-old boy that the family was staying with that ended up kind of being the reason for Elleshia's alleged arrest and the FBI finding the children, which I think is fascinating. According to Jill, the mother, Elleshia, had connected with a woman living in Croatia over TikTok, and they connected and they ended up living with this woman and her 13-year-old son in Croatia for about a month and a half.
I would think, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get upset, but you're right. I mean, the facilities won't have the same standards. It's been a long since they came out of war, right? And lots of generational trauma. That your daughter had a boyfriend from Croatia who had lived in the forest. Wow. I mean, that's really bad. His parents were missing and they were separated. Oh, that's terrible. Here's a question I have, and I don't even know if it's possible, but is there some way for TikTok to run a program and find all of these people who are feeding this information out on TikTok? I mean, I liken this to the same kind of thing that happens with, and I know this is a very controversial subject, okay, and that is ICE. And I'm just going to tell you how I feel about it, and it's okay if we don't all agree. It really is. And I'm going to still love you no matter what, because it's your right to think however you want to think. That's your right. In my opinion, if you came here illegally and you are picked up by ICE, whose fault is that? You knew you came here illegally. You should have done it the correct way. If you did it the correct way, you would not be living in fear of ICE. That's what I'm going to say about that. Now, just like this finding these people with the doomsday, end of time stuff on TikTok, you would not believe how many TikToks out there are telling people where ICE is every day. Putting it out there, giving warnings to people every day about stay away from here, there, wherever, because of ICE. To me, that is should not be allowed on TikTok. It should not be allowed on YouTube. It should not be allowed anywhere, because you are interfering with the law, okay? The people knew they came here illegally. Also, one of the problems with the people coming here illegally, and now we have ICE involved, is the people who employ these people, and they're like indentured servitudes because they're paid less than they should have been paid. And we have employers who know they are breaking the law, and they should be held responsible for their portion of why these people are still here. I think it's the same thing. TikTok needs to find a way to stop allowing this extreme or these basically, I'm going to call it illegal. But then I guess it's not TikTok's fault that somebody chooses to do something illegal. I know that's right. I mean, because it's really the person's fault who chooses to do it. But I just don't think you should be interfering with any type of law enforcement. Okay. You agree that 1,000 or 1,000,000% laws break down and the processes aren't used. It's no longer, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I know. I mean, admittedly, the legal route to immigration is extremely difficult. However, immigration laws exist in every country or corner of the world. Why should we be different? Thank you. I cannot, and this is another question I have here. She goes to the airport and buys these tickets for the whole family, one-way trip, no return trip. Basically, she is illegally moving to Croatia without any type of proper paperwork that's going to allow her to stay in Croatia with these kids. How is that happening? Where's the breakdown there? I'd like to know that. Most people won't do what this lady, yeah, they won't. A lot of people won't do that. There are some people who are really afraid of the law, actually. And there are a lot of people like, well, myself, as I was growing up, y'all know I'm 65 years old. So I've had a lot of life. I've seen a lot of things. I've done a lot of things. But I was always taught, if you get in trouble in another country, you're going to be locked up there for the rest of your life. And you're never going to get back to the United States. And because it's not up to the United States to bring you back. Okay, that's the way I was taught. And so I always believed that. And so I would never do something in another country, even when we go on cruise ships or go on trips or whatever, because we travel a lot. But I always reminded my own sons, listen, if you get in trouble over here, I can't get you out. You will be stuck here. So I suggest you stay with us. I guess it worked because they're still here. I mean, they're doing fine, Oh, my God. So let's see, most people won't do what she did. And KJ says, exactly, Magic. Try to come where I am, and it's almost impossible unless you marry or are brought by a multinational company. Yeah, yeah, KJ. Good point. Good point. I mean, there is no other country that you can just move into like that without a visa or without permission to live there, right? Americans get no special treatment for immigration. It's a lot of work, time, and money. I follow the rules of the country I am in. Thank you. Me too. I try to follow all the rules, except for some of the rules that I don't like here in my own household. But that's up to me to change them. I'm just joking with y'all. I got to find some humor somewhere. This is it's very eye-opening. That's words I'm going to use. It's very eye-opening to see how easy it was for her to do this to these children. And I know she's not the only one. We'll keep going. Sorry, guys.
And eventually the 13-year-old Googled one of the children's names and found out that they were looking for them in the United States and showed his mom. And the Croatian woman made Elleshia pack her things and go over to the police station.
Copyright.
And turns out they were both arrested, according to the aunt Jill, because they got into like a physical altercation outside the police department. And from there, the children were taken into custody by a children's center that's similar to an orphanage in the United States, but it's more similar to like a foster care situation. And that's where they're being held. And the family has gotten to see them for about 2 hours a day since about January 18th, I believe.
Yeah. And to think of, it's interesting that according to, and we only have like the FBI said no comment, West Jordan police said no comment. And then, we're working on getting in touch with authorities in Dubrovnik, Croatia, which just from talking to Jill and just the legal process that's playing out, it seems like that's not something as quick as it would be getting a statement from the FBI. But this woman who she allegedly met, and we're kind of vetting information on who that actually is, but it appears that they, at least according to Jill, like they bonded over like this doomsday ideology on TikTok. And it's just fascinating to think that kind of sharing these thoughts on social media would lead to her allegedly taking these children without the consent of the dads out of the country and really, 5,600 miles away from home in Utah.
Right. Yeah. It sounds like they did bond over their similar ideologies on the apocalypse, on
You know what? Yeah, okay. So this is Magic Star. My ex is from San Salvador. He met a woman from there and married within a few months of meeting. Due to so many people defrauding the system, they have had an awful time bringing her and her daughter to America. Yeah, see, I can tell you, I'm going to tell you about something that I know about because one time my older child, he and his buddies decided, hey, we're just going to move to Nashville, Tennessee. So they jumped up one day. They just got rid of everything and they had a bunch of cash. They just jumped on a damn Greyhound bus. This is a true story. I was so mad. Anyway, and they just moved to Nashville, Tennessee. And I said, okay, all right. Well, they're an adult. I really couldn't stop them. But one of the things that they told me about was these people kept coming to them and saying, hey, listen, we'll pay you $5,000. We'll pay you $10,000. Would you just please marry this person? Please marry this person. And these people would be like Chinese nationals or Taiwanese, that kind of thing. Always begging them to illegally marry somebody for money. And my son was like, well, no matter how desperate I may be because I just jumped up and moved to Nashville without really thinking about it, I will never do that for money. Thank God, Anyway, that's just a little story. Yeah, that's sad. My friend from the UK went with her fiance to San Fran, and she couldn't get her papers. Her taxi driver from Tobago was shocked when she told him she couldn't get her green card. Oh, wow. Yeah. Sounds like something I would do in my youth. Actually, I pretty much did just that. California to Florida on a motorcycle on a whim. Oh, girl, you're brave. Magic, you're brave. Meanwhile, the rest just walk over and stay. She could support herself, pay taxes, etc. And with a place. But yeah, that's what's sickening about it. See, the thing is, and I'm not going to get off. I'm not going to go political here because that is something I just don't want on my channel. But I will say it doesn't matter whether you're Democrat or Republican or independent. These people have been running across that border for years. It did not start with just one group. This has been going on for years, right? Yeah. So bravery and stupidity. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. He said to her, why don't you just enter a lottery oh, yeah. Well, I've heard about that too. I've heard about this lottery thing that you could get into and that's, but they also did that online situation that you could just fill out all these paperwork online and then on a certain day show up at this one place. And then that's how you could gain entry legally. So I don't know I guess because the situation was so bad where these people lived, they felt like they could not wait. They could not wait it out in Mexico while they got this waiting on this date. Because it's my understanding these dates were like years, like years before you could see a judge. So I don't know. I don't know. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. Let's get back to listening to this. Sorry, guys. You know me, I just get all my stuff.
Doomsday, things like you said. But it does sound like the woman in Croatia was unaware that the children had forged passports, allegedly, that they were taken when Elleshia does not have full custody of the children. And it does seem like as soon as she found out that she was aware, she did report it to the authorities. And it's quite the interesting story, how they lived with this family for a month and a half, and it took that long for them to find out that, people have been looking for them all over the world.
Right. And it'll be interesting if the American woman who's living in Croatia, I know she's being, according to Jill, detained, but, whether she, the investigation that'll go into how much she actually knew, because we knew that she was online a good amount, and what a moment it must have been for those kids to kind of type their name into Google and see all the coverage that's been going on here for the last several months, because according to Jill, the kids thought for a long time that they were kind of on this vacation, it seems, or at least the family knew where they were, and that apparently wasn't the case. What do you make of the legal hurdle?
Here's the question now. These kids thought they were just on a vacation, that they thought their dad knew where they were. But how many times do you think they asked, hey, can I call dad? Can I talk to my father? Because no matter which person you're with, mom or dad, and you've lived with the other person most of the time, you would want to talk to them on the phone, right? You would want to have conversations. So I don't understand how she kept them from talking to their father, because the father would be asking them, hey, how y'all doing? Where you at? Oh, we're in a foreign country, blah, blah, blah. I guess she knew that, right? So there's some weird things that's happened here, She's back in the Central Europe near me, and she just doesn't want to live in the UK. Well, I wouldn't want to live in the UK either. From what I understand, it's dreadfully cold and wet all the time. And Magic Star says, oh, you're good. I'm enjoying it. I want to do things. You know what, Magic Star? We've talked about this several times. I want to do things different. I don't want to be just over there on true crime, on these missing children's backs. That whole, how I feel about that whole thing. I mean, it's important to keep their name out there. Yes, it is. But it's important to bring new information instead of just going over the same old thing. Because I want to say this, and I know people, listen, in one day, I lost 120 subscribers over my thought, what I had to say about the Sebastian Rogers case. And I'm sorry that these people decided they could not understand why I would say these things. But here's what I'm going to say. Yes, there's all kinds of things out there that has been shown to us by many different channels. But the problem is, if any of those things were true, don't you think somebody would have been arrested already? And I'm saying this because if they had absolute proof that they buried him in the cemetery, or that he was put in some car and taken some, if they had any proof of any of that, they would have been arrested already. They don't have proof, right? Hey, good to see you, Leslie. Good to see you. Thank you so much. So all of this sounds like, people are speculating this, people are speculating that, and all that. But one of the problems that happens when you start doing all this is you get a lot of misinformation out there. And then people get things in their mind, because we don't have information from law enforcement. People get things in their mind that, probably one of these scenarios is probably true. And you can't change that no matter what. So what I'm going to say here is, yes, I go listen to some of my friends, and I mod for some of these people and all that. Do I agree with them all the time? No, I do not. Do I think that what they're doing is horrible or mean or whatever? Not exactly. I understand trying to keep the person's name out there. That's great. But please, please do not spread misinformation. One of the things we do know, because we've seen it ourselves, some of the video being put out about Sebastian Rogers' case has been messed with. Okay, the Texas Roadhouse. All of this stuff, anything that came from at night, you cannot trust any of it, okay? They are not what they say they are, and I'm going to leave it at that. All right, we'll go back to this. So, hey, good to see you, Leslie. I'm so glad you're, what? Oh, what? She goes, I'm sick. Oh, I'm sorry, Leslie. I hope you feel better. Hey, yeah, and the audacity and a respectful conversation. Yeah, thank you. Yes. Yeah, people are upset with me. I'll tell you that, Magic. Did it hurt my feelings? Yes, but you know what? I have to be true to me. And that's how I feel about it. So good to see you. Thank you for popping in the bushes. I always love to see Leslie come in. Really? My dog account, your dog account lost 100 followers when I didn't change the profile picture to a black square. That's all I did. Just didn't go. Yeah, isn't that something? I hope you get to feeling better. I do too, Leslie. I hope you do. A lot of people have been sick here lately. I know I was sick for a couple of days. I couldn't even go mod. I was like, oh my God. I was trying to watch Clutch Them Pearls, and I just had to put out there, and I said, hey, I'm gonna have to come back to replay. I can't concentrate. I could not pay attention, because I was taking these sinus pills, and they were just making me so freaking loopy. Anyway, I was glad I got past that. But anyway, we'll keep listening to this. I'm sorry. Let me get back on I'm getting unsidetracked over here.
Because it seems like, as much as, okay, here are these kids that were missing in the U.S. Elleshia Seymour is set to face charges eventually when she returns to Utah. The FBI knows that these kids were there. They're the ones who communicated with Jill. And yet it seems so difficult at this point for them to actually get the kids back to the United States. And there seems to be like there's going to be a cost that comes with it too.
So the interesting part, I think, that's making it so difficult in speaking with Jill is the translation aspects, that language barrier. It sounds like that is a huge reason why the court process is taking so long, because the Children's Center actually has custody of the children right now in Croatia. And for them to be able to turn the custody over to the parents, it sounds like the police department in Croatia has to complete their investigation, and they have to have the courts in Utah send over documentation proving that they are their actual family, that they have, the custody of the children. But in order for that to happen, it has to be sent to Croatia, translated, and then turned over to the police department, because according to Jill, they don't do any kind of like e-filing. You can't just like email things back and forth. It has to be turned in on paper in Croatian. And so that is taking a really long time, as well as, the police continuing their investigation and making sure that all the documents are legitimate, and kind of just making sure everything goes through the correct processes to make sure these kids are who they're supposed to be with.
Right. And it's, I'm sure it sounded like, in speaking with Jill, just incredibly frustrating and draining to have to deal with all of this. I know that your outlet has covered this story from the very beginning, and we were talking about some of the similarities with this case. And then you think of the Lori Vallow case that played out. Certainly that one, much darker. And in this case, we have somewhat of a happy ending at this point, that these kids are safe, and eventually we assume they'll be able to get back to the United States. But when it comes to this ideology that I think a lot of people are going to just be fascinated with, and fascinated is a tough term because it's obviously very concerning, but what are some of the parallels maybe you see between that case and this case?
Sure. Yeah. So we covered Lori Vallow Daybell pretty extensively. And with this case with Elleshia, it seems like the mothers have, these extreme ideologies. They both come from LDS backgrounds, and they have just kind of taken these beliefs and spiraled them to the absolute extreme. One interesting thing that I think is both of these mothers seem to have felt the need to take their children elsewhere, which is interesting. Lori Vallow obviously took her children from Arizona to Redford, Idaho. And then Elleshia took her family from Utah to Europe, and they went to Amsterdam and Italy and all of these places. And it just seems like there is a culture in social media with this, because Lori Vallow Daybell was a part of a lot of podcasts, and she was a part of a lot of things trying to kind of like disseminate this information and her beliefs. And then Elleshia was all over TikTok and all over social media also disseminating her beliefs, which I think worried a lot of people. And there's a lot of similarities. I think obviously we're really thankful that this one doesn't seem like it's going to end up nearly as dark as the Lori Vallow Daybell one, and we're really glad these kids are safe and healthy. And it's just interesting the way that some of these tend to be pretty similar within the way that they start.
Yeah. And I think not to single out TikTok, but I think in this case, it seems like it was TikTok, but the social media aspect of it too, we're having these concerning ideologies, and we see it in a lot of different tragic stories. You meet people with similar ideas. But again, we don't know if this person in Croatia, who she was allegedly living with, how much they knew. And we'll see how all of that plays out. As far as the family dynamic, because we know that 3 of the children were Kendall Seymour, who's the ex-husband, and Jill Seymour's brother. 3 of them are his kids. And then there's this.
It's just like Gypsy Rose Blanchard, Lori Vallow, all of these high crimes. People watch this and they see the end result. Now, for Gypsy Rose Blanchard, we know that there have been kids since she's gotten out of jail. There have been, I think, 15 kids that have killed their parent because they were upset with them about something. Well, because looky here, Gypsy Rose does it. She does 8.5 years, gets out. She's automatically a TikTok star. She's over here making money hand over fist. She's making TV shows. She's writing, but so it must not be that bad to kill your parent. Look, you can come out and just be famous. Wow. That's what's disgusting about this, right? Okay, so let me tell you what I found. So it's called the Abducted Kids Help, and this is their GoFundMe. So far, they were trying to raise $100,000. Now, I do know that what they're going to do is whatever they don't use, they're going to donate back to the other child who is in that orphanage with their kids, who is in Croatia. They want to get him help because I think they're trying to get that child also sent back to America, and they're trying to get him emotional support, get him some counseling or whatever he needs. So they're donating part of the money to him as well because he helped save their kids. So here's the update. On 125, they have $49,438 raised out of the 100,000. And click, it's clicking and clicking every time I look at it. It's clicking. So, let's see. How can I get the information? Let's see. Let me see if I can find the Start a Giving Fund. Let's see, read more. I'm trying to get the actual address for this GoFundMe. I'm going to share it over here if I can. Okay, on YouTube. Okay. Download this video. All right. We'll keep watching this while I get this information for you guys. I'm just going to put it on. I'm going to put it on a community post in case anybody wants to donate to it. Here we go.
Fourth child as well, who is also Elleshia's child, but for as vocal, and I think, you see the Seymour speaking with the media like we did with Jill today, you don't hear much from the father of that other child. What is the family dynamic that we know about at this point with just all of these kids and kind of how the families are feeling as this is going on?
Yeah, honestly, we don't know a lot about the fourth child's father. We haven't heard anything from him in the media. We were reached out pretty directly by Jill today at East Idaho News, and I imagine she reached out to you guys directly as well. And they've been very outspoken. We haven't heard anything from the fourth child, but it seems like the family right now is just happy that they were found, is happy that they're safe. One of the interesting things is Jill told me that the 7-year-old girl, Hazel, was telling the adults that her mother had told them that they needed to leave because Salt Lake City was about to be destroyed, that there was an apocalypse, all these things. And they asked Hazel what she thought, what she believed, and she said she didn't think any of it was true, which kind of speaks to the intelligence of these children. I mean, it's kind of amazing that these children were kind of able to think for themselves when like a parental figure is telling them these things that come from these really extreme, concerning ideologies. And I think the family right now is probably just buckling down and trying to get through the rest of this. I mean, I think she said they've expected to only be there about 48 hours and they've been there about 9 days today.
Yeah. And it's, again, I mean, the good news part of it is those kids are safe, and the legal part of it, we'll see how it plays out, see if anything can be kind of pushed ahead forward. But they're in another country and in the custody of another country. So we'll see how it plays out. Caitlin Hart with EastIdahoNews.com. I know a busy day in your newsroom. Thanks for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
That will do it for On the Case, presented by Law and Crime. Subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify, and now you can find episodes of On the Case on Peacock. I'm Chris Stewart. We'll see you next time.
Let's get off of here. Click over here. Okay, so that was Law and Order's coverage over these Croatian kids. So, yeah, I'm so glad. I'm putting this GoFundMe thing over here if I can finish typing it. Where am I at? I'm at 8 ED. 2. Okay, yeah. Well, this is the hard way to do it, but I don't think I can cut and paste it. I'm always afraid of throwing myself out of my own live stream because I've done it so many times. Because sometimes they're just not technologically. What's the word I want to use? I have some disabilities on that. Thank you so much, Magic Star. Appreciate that. Thank you. That's what I was trying to do, is put that GoFundMe out there in case anybody wants to donate to it. I know times are hard. I know a lot of us just don't have the money to do that. But in case anybody wants to, anybody who watches this live stream later, and that's the thing about this. And here's my other thing, I don't care if I have one person, 0, whatever. I'm still going to do my live because I know people, when they have time, they're driving, whatever, they will watch it because they know they want to listen. It's not always about watching what I'm showing you. Yes, technology advanced. It's about hearing what's really going on out there. So let me go back over here to this, and we'll go off of here for a minute. And let me see. Let me look up for something. Hang on a second, guys. Do y'all want to see any more about this, or do y'all want to just call this live over with, and then we'll come back? And really, I mean, I know I really wasn't starting on this, but we'll come back and I'm going to do my other live later on this afternoon. I'm trying to get with Sprinkle to see if she wants to join in about are we being desensitized because we fall asleep listening to true crime? Is it changing our minds? Is it changing our perception? Is it like murders just every day now? It's not really a big deal because we see it so much. Yeah. What GoFundMe were you talking about? The same one you're talking about right there for the kids. That one right there. That is the one I wanted to show right there. Thank you so much, Magic Star. I appreciate that. Okay, so I guess we're going to call it a day. I guess we're going to end this live, and I'm going to come back later on and do my other live that I actually was going to talk about. And I'm going to try to reload this video since I won my both of my copyright strikes. Jesus, on the same live. Gosh, on the same live. You know, yeah. Oh, Magic Star. Yeah, it was for the kids in Croatia. I'm trying to put their GoFundMe out there so that we can have it if people want to donate when they're listening later or whatever. You know. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you can do that for me, Magic. I appreciate it. See, you're such a good one. Okay, back on my other topic. Okay, desensitizing. We're going to do a lot about that later. I'm also going to try to. That's right. I'm going to try to figure out how to get the. Okay, so my original live that I did about aliens was 2 hours and 24 minutes. Oh, okay, KJ, thank you for coming in. We really appreciate it. And yes, please come back on replay anytime. You know I appreciate your support. And I never ask, but please hit that thumbs up on your in or out. Either way, I need to get. Guys, I don't even have 4,000 watch hours yet. I have 1,005 with over 600 videos, and it's been almost a year. Now, I think it's because I will not go up there and talk about these kids all the time, and I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do that. And so therefore, it'll take me a lot longer to get my watch hours, and that's okay. Nearly 50,000. Yeah, that's great. But it is going to be very expensive for them, and I don't blame them for trying to raise that much money because you're talking about 7 plane tickets home. You're talking about it's a lot. They are going through a lot over there. I hope that this story opens up the eyes of everybody that has children that are being, that they have to share custody of, to pay attention, especially if there's any red flags anywhere that you see anything strange out of that other parent. Pay attention. Yeah. Thank you, KJ. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. I always do appreciate you. I love you all. Y'all know that. I mean, I'm probably not the best creator out there, but I'm always going to care about my subs. I'm always going to see if I can help you. And I'm always going to ask you if you want to come up and share your thoughts anytime. I'm so easy. Oh, my dog's in the bark now. Anyway, so yeah, see, look, I'm getting all sidetracked. My original live was 2 hours and 24 minutes. So after all the strikes and after winning my strikes and I've copied all that, now my video is 1 hour and 50 minutes. It's missing 30 minutes. The 30 minutes it's missing is one of the best parts of the whole live. It is when the dude, I think his name is Paul, and he channels this being called Bashar. And so he was channeling Bashar in my live video the other day, and we were discussing the beliefs of aliens and abductions. So I have sent an email to legal at YouTube to ask them, how do I get my 30 minutes back in there? Because YouTube took it out. Can I just upload the other one and not get another strike? I don't know. Oh, thank you, Leslie. I appreciate you too. I really do. I don't ever want y'all to be bored. If there's anything y'all ever want to talk about, hey, just let me know. We'll find a way, we certainly will. Yeah, it is aggravating because now I don't know how to fix it. And what made me upset about the strike to begin with, the second strike on the same live, was they left part of I was commenting on this live, and they left part of it. But the minute the guy started channeling this other being that he calls Bashir, that is where they cut it off, right there. So it's like they're talking, and then the live just dies. I didn't notice this. See, I kept seeing YouTube kicking people out on my live the other night. I was like, oh no, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with it? But I just kept talking. I did not realize that it had shut the whole thing down. It actually did record the whole thing, but it stops at 1 hour 50 minutes. So anyway, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna let y'all go get some rest. I'll see you later. I'll put a post out about when we're going to come back live, and it's going to be about true crime and desensitizing our brains. Anyway, y'all have a good afternoon. Be careful. Take care of yourselves. Go hug your babies. I always say that because life is short, and your life with your children is even shorter. So anyway, love you guys. Bye. Oh, a word from our sponsor.